Hi, I'm called Coach Kate, and this is a sample of the coaching which I do applying the teachings from the Sedona method, which is an emotional release method. It was founded in 1950 by Lester Levinson and handed over to Hale Dwoskin, who I learnt the teachings from and applied in my own life. Neither myself nor the Sedona method treat, diagnose or cure on any medical or psychological condition. If you feel that's warranted, please see the appropriate service for that. Alright, we're going to release on any sense of the feeling of disapproval. So, can you think of a situation where there was a feeling of disapproval of yourself? For example, my body isn't toned enough, I'm not fit enough, I'm underweight, I'm overweight, I don't like the colour of my eyes, my hair, wrinkles, freckles, anything at all around that. You could also invite in any belief around what's been taught in terms of the feeling of disapproval. So just for now, could you just welcome that feeling of I'm not enough, or a feeling of disapproval, and not like, a dislike, around anything to do with yourself. Could you just notice how that feels and welcome that? Notice the feeling as opposed to thinking. Can you feel into that with the heart rather than the thinking head or mind? And is there any wanting associated with that? Is there any wanting to be approved of? Now with this, you can answer just either yes or no, and either a yes or no answer is really good, and you can answer that just silently within. So is there any wanting approval? Is there any wanting to control that, or wanting to change that? And is there any wanting to be controlled by that, or a feeling of being controlled by that thought that created the feeling? And is there any wanting security around that? And is there any wanting to be separate? Or is there any wanting to be one? Wanting to be closer to person, place, or thing? One with that. And notice when there's any wanting of any of that or all of those things, that it's a feeling of not having. It's a feeling of lack. So could you allow yourself to simply allow that feeling to dissolve? Could you let it go? And a yes or no answer is good here. And would you let it go? That's just asking, would you be willing to let it go? And when? And the only time we can really let go is in the now, right now, because I can't let go yesterday, now, or I can't let go tomorrow now. So basically the best answer here is, when could I let it go? Now. Alright, so we'll go through that again, and without me having to explain that, and just yes or no is good because it can dissolve either way, even with a no answer. So be as honest as you can. Take the very first thought or feeling that comes to mind. You don't have to converse with it. And just let's see what is discovered beyond that. Alright, so once again, could you notice a situation, person, place, or thing where you felt that you weren't enough, or you felt a sense of disapproval, or just right now there's a feeling of disapproval of either something about the body, or if I wear this piece of clothing or that piece of clothing, I'm not enough. Welcome any sense of disapproval. Allow yourself to notice that feeling. And is there any wanting associated with that? Any wanting approval? Any wanting to control that or change that? Any feeling of being controlled by it? Being controlled by the external, telling you how to be or not be? Any wanting security? Any wanting to be separate from that? And any wanting to be one? And could you just notice that that wanting is a feeling of not having, a lack? And so could you let that feeling of not having dissolve? Could you let it go? Would you let it go? And when? And so just check and see now from the heart rather than the thinking head. And it doesn't have to be the physical heart, how it feels now. Does it feel a little more open, free, and more at ease, or more peaceful, serene peace? Even if it's just 1% more. Okay, so let's do that again. Could you just allow yourself to notice any remaining sense of disapproval around how you feel about any part of the body, whether it's freckles, wrinkles, underweight, overweight, gotta have this clothing on or that pair of shoes on, anything at all. Could you just allow yourself to feel into any remaining sense of disapproval that's arising or appearing in mind? Could you just allow yourself to notice that? And is there any wanting associated with that? Is there any wanting approval? Wanting to be approved of? Any wanting to control that? Any wanting to change it? Is there any feeling of being controlled by it? Is there any wanting security? Any wanting to be separate from that? Or any wanting to be one with that? And just notice how any of that wanting is a feeling of not having or lacking. And so could you let that feeling dissolve? Could you let it go? Would you let it go? And when? And can we just check and see now from the heart, rather than the thinking head, how it feels now? Does it feel more open, freer? Now you can repeat this exercise as many times as you like, or for as long as you like. And each time it will dissolve and dissolve and dissolve until it's basically beyond that. But allow yourself to discover if that's true for you. Now we'll do just one more exercise here, which is another way of releasing, enhancing that ability that you already have, but this can make it quicker and a little more effective. We'll take two different feelings, one of disapproval and one of approval, but I'll just turn them a little bit differently. You quite familiar with noticing any sense of disapproval? So I'll ask you to notice any sense of disapproval, that feeling. And then I'll also ask you to, right now, can you just notice a situation where you felt approval of the self, of yourself? Another way we could do that is for you to answer this question, which is, what day is it today? Okay, for example, it's Wednesday. So could I give myself a little love just because it's Wednesday? So in terms of when there's a feeling of approval, it's like a noticing the love that you already are. So could you give yourself a little love? Alright, so in this moment, could you notice any disapproval as much as you do? And could you notice any approval as best you can? A feeling of love for yourself. And could you notice any disapproval as much as you do? And can you notice any feeling of approval as best you can? And notice any feeling of disapproval as much as you do. And notice the feeling of approval as best you can. And notice any feeling of disapproval as much as you do. And can you notice any sense of approval as best you can? And any feeling of disapproval? And any feeling of approval? Notice any feeling of disapproval. And any feeling of approval. And any feeling of disapproval. and any feeling of approval. And just for now, could you allow yourself to feel into that feeling of approval, the feeling of giving yourself a little love, just because you can. And could you allow yourself to welcome that some more, or notice that more? And even more than that, and even more than that. And could you just rest as that, which is whole, complete, and already enough, just as it is. Alright, that's it for now.